Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Hawg Talk podcast, presented to you by Vision Exterior and powered by FanDuel. Adam, the Hogs on the field, bottled water is all over. They even had these power water stations. I guess people can take their own paper cups and bring their own Stanleys and fill up their own water. Porta potties, they've got this thing ready to go for Saturday.
You don't want to have another fiasco of what was it last season or a couple of years ago or whatever when they ran out of water. So hopefully, like we've said, I say hopefully we'll see if this is the last go around in War Memorial Stadium.
I think it is. I think it needs to be. We can separate. A lot of people has been coupling the Arkansas State game with War Memorial Stadium. You could do both separate. I think that yes, this should be the last game in Little Rock, because just unless they really put money into really getting this thing to where it can house a true SEC game and not Catholic high school games and state football finals games. But then maybe. I think the older I get, you think about nostalgia and you think about, when used to and the LSU games there and when there was 50,000 people and the Razorbacks were good. They had a winning record against SEC opponents in Little Rock, So I can't remember how many games did Houston not go undefeated. I think, was it 4 or 5 he went?
Something like that. And I get the nostalgia of that time frame, that era or whatever, but it's one of those, and this is nothing against like the fans in Central Arkansas or the other side of the state that travel there, because they do show up.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, no favors have been done, like you talked about and brought up, to make renovations to the stadium. You can barely field, high school games.
Mm-hmm.
All the amenities are garbage. And then you're bringing in the whole SEC factor of it all. I mean, it's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it like, what was it? Was it Simmons Bank Arena? Before we couldn't have games on TV there because it wasn't set up for it, or this, that, and the other. It's one of those, if you're to this point that you can't make these changes and these upgrades, you don't deserve the game then.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get it. And honestly, unless, maybe way on down the road, this is going to be the only time this game's played. Just with the SEC going to a 9-game schedule and everything else that's going on. So why not have one final last hoorah in Memorial Stadium with it, Arkansas State? And there's been a lot of discussion around this. And honestly, Adam, I'm glad we kind of got a head start with Kara Ritchie and was talking about this game, because we're hearing a lot of different discussions that, when it comes to this game and Little Rock and everything. And no, it doesn't need to be played every year, but it's still exciting because this is the first time it's ever happened. But people are treating it like, oh, we don't need this game. We don't want this game. And then you have Sam Pittman saying, well, it's a better, it's easier on them because of the commute. I'm like, are we really making excuses that for Arkansas State? Well, it's easy for them because it's a closer drive. It's really not. I don't know how much closer it is from Jonesboro to Little Rock than Fayetteville, Little Rock, but I guarantee it's not that big of a difference. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe.
Let's find out, just for S's and G's, if you
just
will.
for our Thursday show. This is our
Memorial. So from Jonesboro to War Memorial, hour 57 minutes, 133 miles. Let's reverse that. 134 miles, and then Fayetteville. So you've got 60 miles, basically an hour difference, close to.
No.
But still, it's an hour. But it's an hour away, guys.
I'll say this. Now, Adam, I don't know if you've traveled from Little Rock to Memphis, but I guarantee you that interstate coming in from Memphis into Little Rock is horrible. And the amount of trucks that are on it. So, I wouldn't sit there. It's so much closer. It really isn't, give or take, because, but still yet. you still shouldn't be making excuses on an inferior team on why it gives them an advantage in this game. And then the fans, this is a one-time deal. Of course, you're going to have all these Arkansas State fans because they're licking their chops. They see a team that, in their mind, they have a chance to win this game. And to be honest, they have a right to feel that way because Arkansas is down. If this was a full-fledged Bobby Petrino team and an 8-9 win SEC team, no chance. But how this is going, they are coming into this like they have a chance to win the game. And I'm sorry, that's on Hunter Yurchek, that's on Sam Pittman, that's on the university. That's their fault. You've had 6 years to get this to where you shouldn't feel like Arkansas State coming into Little Rock, they have a chance to win this game.
I feel like what we've heard from Sam Pittman in regards to this game is just like we've heard from the team, from the bigger media in the state of Arkansas. It's kind of like laying the foundation if something is to go wrong in this game. You know, oh, we don't want this game. We don't this, we don't that. And that's been kind of the general theme so far in the offseason, or at least leading up to the season. And this is, I feel like, the most vocal or outspoken against this Little Rock game that Sam Pittman's been. And, you know, tunes changed a little bit. It is what it is. This is going to be a topic until the game is no longer played there. But it's one of those, I think, with you bringing up the 9 SEC games that start next season, looks like this game, is not going to be an every year thing. Whether, like Kara Rich brought up, 5 years, 20 years, never having to get whatever. You're getting to a point that these non-conference neutral site games that don't mean anything are going to stop. They announced in 2030 we'll play Texas Tech at Allegiant in Las Vegas. You're going to have these bigger prime time neutral site games versus a little piddly local Arkansas State in Little Rock or whatever. It's kind of like what Coach Cal and others are doing in basketball. These prime time non-conference events.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you're not going to have time to mess with these little. You may still get one or two, but when you're only going to have 3 non-conference games, they better be worth something. Because, you put in that Texas Tech game. So, I mean, is that going to be your only Power 4 non-conference game of that season? Or by then is something else going to change? Because, we've been talking about 2030 possibly being the year to hear or to see how college football as a whole is going to go if we're going to finally see the SEC Big Ten Super Conference. So, and that's just us spitballing on time frame if that happens. But I think the further you go out to right now, 5 years, 7 years, you're going to get there. These little piddly games are going to be non-existent. These smaller schools are going to be kind of fending for themselves when it comes to their payday games, because you're no longer going to have those. And, as other games, it's a travesty. But, here we are again on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus this weekend.
Yeah, and I did see something. I can't remember where it was, but now with that 2030 game, it has also changed the Memphis game. Now that's on the second Memphis game is their year's changed. So there's another year that now they've already have one of their Power 4, Power 5 opponents. Yeah, it will. And to be honest, now if you take the Little Rock game away, and this is why I'm going to say that if this game was to be played every 5-6 years and they're still playing games in Little Rock, it is feasible to play this thing in Little Rock or Fayetteville. But how many people from Jonesboro is going to go to Fayetteville on a regular basis opposed to going to Little Rock? You're going to get your Hawg fans, but now how many of those people is going to show up to a Nicholls State game? Or how many of those people is going to show up to Texas A&M or Alabama and A&M? How many people is going to show up in Little Rock in those games? The one game that is a cupcake team would be this Arkansas State game. So it's either this year And then if they continue playing games in Little Rock, maybe sprinkle that Little Rock game in, or the A-State game in. But other than that, I think you do away with it, because with how this team needs to be going, and if you're going to be playing tougher opponents, revenue, that's another one, which we'll talk about the baseball side of it here in a second or in a minute. But they're just worried about revenue right now. Who's going to bring in more tickets? Who's going to bring in more money? You think about the loss going to Vegas. That's going to bring in more money. Well, you hear nothing about, well, we got to go all the way out to Vegas to play Texas Tech in this Las Vegas game. Why? You're not going to be able to recruit there. It's the same thing, but again, because it's Little Rock, it is Arkansas State. They're tired of playing in that game. The program is where it is. They're going to gripe about it.
Can't please everybody. There's always going to be a complaint. And I'll say this too, because I know it's going to happen. I can already see the posts on Saturday. And I said this on HQ Live Sunday night. Folks, like when you're in these Facebook groups, stop posting pictures of the crowd. Like, I mean, you get some people that'll post it, middle of the first quarter, second quarter, whatever. Then you have your people saying, look at this crowd. Well, it's the fourth quarter and we're up 52 to whatever. Like, it's played out. Like, we get it. Fans left after halftime. At the same time, here we are, this Little Rock game. We'll see if it's sold out. I don't know if it is or not. We'll see what the crowd looks like. But the pissing contest over who, what, when, where, what with these crowds, like, it's done and over with. And I know a lot of people probably just do it to troll. But at the same time, it's exhausting. It's annoying. Like, stop. The Little Rock crowd, they poke fun, poke the bear when it comes to the Fayetteville crowds. And I just look at it like this. You're not at the Fayetteville game, so why are you talking about the crowd? If you're not at the Little Rock game, why are you talking about the crowd? Like, just stop. Like, it's over with. It's a dead issue. These games, whether the tickets are sold out, there's a big difference between scanned tickets and the attendance that's announced. They're obviously going to announce what the better and higher number is, just like we saw in basketball. Every single game was 19-2. When we knew damn well that there wasn't 19,000 people there, there's barely 15,000 people there. So the whole gripe fest when it comes to who shows up for what game in what city, like, it just stop doing it.
Well, and yeah, I get it, and they should. But it's funny when, as soon as they post that, somebody else 5 minutes later is like, hey, this is what it was really like at kickoff or first quarter. You took this at the end of the fourth quarter when everybody had left, or an hour while people are still trying to get in. So it's always the timing of it.
And I do want to interject to this comment right here. Yeah. Prime example and perfect comment. Hogs are the SEC team. Do we worry about other opponents' fans being able to make the trip? 100%. Why do we care?
Yeah.
We should not care about other fans being able to make the trip when we're an SEC team.
Yeah, I get it. I was making a point of, if you're going to play these Rudy Poo games, these cupcake games, you're talking about revenue, and you're talking about which one, and this is just solely on the Arkansas State game, where would you get more revenue? Playing it in Little Rock every few years, or all the time if it was a Fayetteville deal? I mean, after a while, say this goes the right way and Arkansas blows them out, we're not going to hear about this game again, probably, because it was a blowout. And it's not going to matter where it was, because, it's probably not going to happen again. I'm just saying, if they were to keep the Little Rock playing games in Little Rock, I would play a team like Arkansas State, because you're guaranteed that that's going to bring in revenue for that game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the years of playing LSU and Mississippi State there in rotation are done. There should be no SEC conference game in that stadium. You do yourself a disservice by taking an SEC game out of whatever home, just like Jerry World with Texas A&M. Do not play a conference game on a neutral site. Stop doing it for all parties involved.
Yeah. And before the NIL and the transfer portal stuff, I was one of those ones that keep playing the game in Little Rock. Just get a better football team, because nobody was talking about those LSU games in Little Rock when they were winning, when they were playing LSU on the Friday after Thanksgiving, or when they were playing Mississippi State, when they were a better football program, it didn't matter. Everybody did that. But now coupled with NIL, and you need, if you're going to raise revenue to season ticket holders, if you're going to raise ticket prices and everything, you need to have every single game in Fayetteville that you can, because that is taking away from the people who donate thousands and thousands every year to get tickets to that stadium to watch the Razorbacks play. They should not have to pay an extra ticket fee to go to Little Rock and then the travel on top of that. So I do agree with that, because they've raised prices on everything and they've had to.
100%. Like you said, everything right now, especially to one person in particular, it's all about revenue. It's all about bottom dollar. Who cares what the fans think or want?
Yeah. And as right now, by FanDuel Sportsbook, it is Arkansas is a 22.5 point favorite. So it's went up 1 point since Sunday, and the over under is still at 64.5 between the games. So that's brought to you by FanDuel on that. And but moving on to, it's weird how with week one, and we can just transition into the week one overreactions we've been hearing. And I don't know if you're just deflecting from the fact that this could be a potential game or what, but some of these claims and some of these questions we're talking about, and who would you rather have, and overreactions from, they did the same thing against UAPB last year. And now after this game, we're hearing now Taylon Green, who would you rather have? Arch Manning or Taylon Green? And I'm just like, why? Why are we doing this?
I mean, you sent this to me, and I sent it to some friends in our group text. And I mean, the general consensus was like, I'd rather have Arch Manning. And this friends group is, diehard Arkansas fans, have been their entire lives. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know necessarily what to think about the show that's on the screen right now. I mean, we've said our piece about them, but at the same time, I'm just like, why? Like, would you rather have the quarterback on the unranked team that's projected to win, 5.5 games by FanDuel, that's picked to finish 14th in the SEC? Or do you want to have the quarterback that, yes, is 0-1 to start the season, but still on a ranked team that was ranked number 1 preseason?
Well,
I mean,
go ahead.
No, it's just one of those things that I don't get the comparisons. I don't understand it.
And what I say is, why are we saying this now after, of course, Arch had a horrible game? Everybody, it's easy to kick on him when he's down. When you went to your very first game on the road, you're playing at the Horseshoe. You're playing against Ohio State. You had the potential of tying the game. Yeah, he did not have the best game. But you're comparing that to what Taylon Green did against Alabama A&M. That's laughable to me, because to me, you're trolling at this point. To me, you know what you're trying to get from the audience when you say that. You're trying to squeeze all the sunshine, all the Kool-Aid out of that. You're trying to get every bit of it, because if we watch the same game, yeah, the defense shaping up, but those first 2 drives, Alabama and A&M carved up Arkansas's defense. And I'm not saying that the offense isn't good and they're not productive, but it really worries me. How is this going to happen when they're playing somebody like, I watched the LSU defense and they're blitzing you and they're faster than your quarterback or as fast as your quarterback, and you get sacked? How about the quarterback that is, I mean, what did he lead the league in turnovers last year as a quarterback? I mean, how many turnovers did he have? How many fumbles did he have? 11?
Something like that. I mean, we led the country in fumbles. So
let me go. If you have a point, you can go with it. I want to look at something real quick.
I mean, it just kind of goes, some of this goes back to even before the season, when we have all this dark horse Heisman talk. I just don't get. We go from this. Hey, we were 6-6, and yes, he was a couple hundred yards away or 40 yards away, whatever it was for the single season all-purpose yards or whatever it was. Taylor Green was tremendous. Like I want him to shatter that this season, but at the same time, it's still like we're going off of a lot of what ifs and what could be's, and we're not looking at what has actually happened. I mean, there's a lot of people too. I mean, it's year 2 of Bobby's offense. It's year 2, Bobby and Talon, and we're going off of a lot of stuff. This is not a shot at Talon by any means, and I don't want it to sound that way. But as a quarterback, are we saying that you're expecting Talon Green to be on the level of Ryan Mallett, on the level of Tyler Wilson, on the level of Lamar Jackson? Like he's not.
But they're saying that because you brought up, and the reason why I'm even chiming in is because there's people that saying he's a dark horse Heisman candidate. So that's what you're saying that he is. I'm not saying I agree with you 100%. I'm not saying he's not he's a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but you're wanting to put him up there with Heisman contention, a Heisman quality quarterback, as in one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I want to see more wins. I want to see less turnovers before I even try to put him in that category.
But I think a lot of it too is, and we get firsthand what it means, trying to get, interactions and views and whatever. Just like, that's why we posted the video of the red wolf on the couch with the Razorbacks behind it. Like, it's one of those things you do it for interactions and whatnot, but to sit here like week after week leading up to the season and talking dark horse Heisman and talking like it's overselling, it's over drinking the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it just goes back to, hey, we're just going to throw this at the wall. So if it sticks and it happens, we're the ones who said it. Yeah. We're the ones who look like the geniuses here.
Well, and the thing is, everybody knows, now in media, you see, and I guess in a sense, I'm saying follow the crumbs, but there's things we post out and people like. We know we're, the agreeance of what we're saying, and I'm not going to point anybody out, but it's just, you see who likes the things and they're on your side of the media, and you're like, okay, we're not the only one who feels this way, even though they can't come out and say certain things. I know people that are sitting there saying, I really want to be truly honest about how I feel about this football team, but yet I'm tied to this, so I can't say these things because Big Brother's going to slap the hand.
Mm-hmm. That's the world we live in now. And that's a big issue because I'm like, we're seeing it all over the place, and we don't have to get into it all, but there's so much wannabe control over media and over the voices. And honestly, then it's like shows like this where you're independent media, you're whatever, that have to step up and say, hey, here's how it really is. Here's what's really going down. Here's how we really feel, because others aren't allowed to. And like we've talked about before, we've already had things stripped. We've already been slapped on the wrist, whatever. It's like, we can keep going.
But the thing is, we're not lying.
No.
Because here's the thing. If we were out here just blatantly just talking crap or just making outlandish things, we would be getting hate all over the place. It's just how it is. But when we're coming out and we're really talking about how we honestly feel, we're not just making, like if we really want to be haters, but like, hey, Arkansas State is going to win. Arkansas is horrible. I see them winning 3 games because of X, Y, and Z, and it's just a unrelatable or irrelevant reason why. We are actually saying, I'm saying 5 games because I think the only 2 games you're going to win is against the lowest SEC teams that you're playing. Mm-hmm. And those teams look pretty good. So we're going to find out, here in the next couple of weeks, just how good this team is. But it's funny is like everybody wants to kick like Notre Dame, how they played against Miami and how, but you know what? Kudos to a Texas, kudos to a Clemson, kudos to an LSU, kudos to Notre Dame, Miami for playing each other week one. Kudos to Bama. Everybody is stomping on Bama right now and me too, because I enjoy it. But everybody's doing that because they got beat by Florida State in week one. To be honest, I can say it because I'm a Clemson fan. We played LSU. But a lot of these people that want to jump on all these other teams, you played Alabama A&M week one. You're going out and you're scheduling tough opponents. You're not playing Alabama A&M, and then you're sitting there, Alabama got beat by Florida State. How would you have done against Florida State or Alabama last week? How would you have done against Miami or Notre Dame last week?
A lot of questions, but it's easier to, like you're saying, it's like here.
Oh, yeah.
Bama slander is always appropriate.
They're the exception. For every rule, there's an exception.
But and that's one thing, and there's two sides to it because, yes, I would like to play a better opponent than Alabama A&M game one, but at the same time, I know how the teams start seasons a lot of times, and it's I don't want to get smacked in the mouth week one.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
And it is what it is, and there's a lot of issues and whatnot. But hey, eye on the prize is a win Saturday. If for some reason it doesn't happen and the wheels fall off, I mean, there should be one less person on their way back to Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And there will be more discussion, with that. But I am, if Arkansas State gets within, and I'm talking about end score, I'm not talking about, if something happens, so like last week, Alabama and A&M at one point, I mean, without penalties, could have went up 10-7 or 14-10. Sorry. I would have been concerned because at that point in the game, that's 2 straight drives. You went down, carved them up, scored. It wasn't a fluke, one series deal, and then you got blown out. What's going to happen when a team like Arkansas State comes in and doesn't commit the turnovers because they're used to playing these bigger teams early on in their schedule, and you have a head coach like Butch Jones that knows how to play against these teams? If Arkansas State scores 24 on Arkansas, I don't care if Arkansas scores 50. If Arkansas State scores 24 or more points on this defense, I am going to be extremely concerned about how the rest of this season plays out.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about the issues that we saw with the defense. I know people wanted to say, "Oh, they only gave up 7 points," blah, blah, and but we talked about the disparity and the issues with the defensive line and the lack of sacks compared to Alabama A&M and the lack of tackles for loss and the this and the that. And you just hope that it was just game one concerns and issues, and they'll turn things around Saturday against Arkansas State. But I'm kind of with you. I think that they need to win by 3 scores or more. And, we've been talking about the point differential, but I'm kind of with you on that thought of there's no reason that they should score 24 points.
Yeah, and the reason is we know what their offense can do. And their offense, to me, if I'll say this, if I had the confidence in the defense that I had in this offense, this would be a 7-8 win team. Because if you look at the 2 wins that say I would replace, oh goodness, let's say Memphis or A&M or Missouri, you would win one of those games. You could flip some of those games. But that is the biggest key is the defense. That's where they get 2 less wins because I am so concerned about the depth. And to me, I know. So if even Arkansas goes out and scores 60, I want to know what the real score is. And when I say real score, if you're blowing a team out, say it was 31-7 at halftime, to me, okay, that was it. Then you go into your reserves when you start bringing in your backups and then start scoring more points. But if the fact that Arkansas State with Arkansas starters in score 24 points, that's where I concern. I'm not going to count, say Arkansas's got their backups in Arkansas State scores a last minute touchdown and they score 24 or 31 points. That don't count. I'm talking about true defense. How many points did this team score on you?
Mm-hmm. So I'm ready to get it over with because I'm not saying that I'm ready to move on to bigger competition because I still don't think that we're going to have a true understanding of where this team is at until we travel to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I don't know, and you got to look at Memphis too. We don't know what kind of game you're going to get out of that as well. It might be a blowout too. So, I mean, you talk about that false sense of security of if you do blow out this one, then you go out and you beat Memphis by it. Then all right, we're good. And then Ole Miss comes and everything falls out.
Yep, we'll see.
But before we switch to the pick'ems, as a Razorback fan, because this is the thing, this is a huge fault of mine when we talk about these things. It is really that understanding of you are a Razorback fan when we're talking about these things and getting your perspective of, how concerned are you about a game like this? It's a lose-lose situation, but where's your head with this going into Saturday?
Going into this weekend.
Yeah.
This is a game that, well, we already know what we've said about, Pittman if they lose. You're done.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if they lost this game, I think the wheels have completely fallen off.
Yeah.
And I think that any criticism thrown towards the team at that point is welcomed. Now, to an extent, we don't need, Brandon Allen, Shark Team set on fire.
No.
Do not. But this would signal the absolute end. 100% certainty, no ifs, ands, or buts, no coming back from it. Don't finish the season, etc. I think a loss this weekend will set you back 2 years. I think you will lose a lot of recruits.
If you lose this game, and hypothetically, because it will never happen, hypothetically, you lose this game, Bobby Petrino gets on the motorcycle and drives out of Little Rock Stadium, because that signifies where you set this team back. You're talking about full circle moment. He's back. You lose a game like this, he should just get on, even whether he still coaches, but he should get on a motorcycle and drive out of Little Rock Stadium, Memorial Stadium, because that would signify that's how far you've set this program back.
Let's hope that didn't happen. Because, like we've talked about, you've brought up, one of your fears was Arkansas still going 5-7 or 6-6 and no change happening.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the bigger picture here, something that's more likely to happen. In my heart of hearts, do I think Arkansas is going to lose this weekend? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear on that. And when we get the pick'ems up, you'll see across the board, it's Arkansas sweep. It's just that in the back of our heads, there's still that possibility.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick 30-second break to hear a word from our sponsors over at Vision Exteriors. Then we'll get onto our pick'em contest, talk about week 1 college, and then NFL season officially starts tonight with the grand, opening with the Cowboys and Eagles, and we'll catch you right after the break. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding installation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality. And welcome back to the Hawg Talk podcast, presented to you by FanDuel. And we get into our week 2 pick'em. And we talked about last week's 2-2. So, Adam, you're already in the lead. Hold on to that belt for a little bit longer because you're out. But today or this week, it looked like we win a lot of chalk.
We did. And we talked about that Sunday, that we're always kind of leery when all of us have picked the same team, especially in the NFL. So, it's one of those things that you and I are identical. So, yeah, starting off like I've got Arkansas, Illinois, Iowa State. You and I went Michigan here. Art and DP went OU. I just can't bring myself to pick OU in a game like this. I just don't see it happening. I know OU has a lot to prove with Brent Venables still. I don't think it's going to be here. Then, tonight's game, Philadelphia and Dallas, I've never probably in my adult life going to pick a Dallas Cowboys victory is what it is. Maybe if they're playing the Cleveland Browns. But, I've got Jalen Hurts showing out in this one, Buffalo and Baltimore. I was actually on the fence here, even being a Baltimore fan, but I've got to roll with it. I think that this is Baltimore's season. I think that they'd finally get Derrick Henry a Super Bowl. I think Lamar finally gets his Super Bowl. And then, with the Minnesota-Chicago. Minnesota, you've got J.J. McCarthy in his true rookie season, not playing last year. You've got Jordan Addison on a 3-game suspension. So I think that's going to hurt Minnesota. So I'm taking Chicago's offense in this game. I know the Vikings have a good defense, but I'm rolling with Chicago's offense and what they've done in the offseason. And that's why I'm taking Chicago there.
With the college side of it, of course. I mean, I think Arkansas, if I was to, this is legit how I think this is going to play out. I think this goes into a game where Arkansas takes control. Arkansas State tries to hang in there, but, Arkansas's offense is just that good. And as much as we talk about Arkansas's defense, Arkansas State's defense is just as questionable. So again, I see this as a rout. I see this as Arkansas winning by 28, maybe 35, depending on how everything. I see 28, but that's the part that why I'm even thinking about this game, because I'm looking on down the road. This should be a blowout, but I want to see how much of a fight Arkansas State puts up, how good their quarterback is mobile. How do we get pressure? The defense rated horrible last week. You shouldn't have SEC caliber defensive lining grading in the 60s and the 50s and the 30s. Shouldn't happen. You should have dominated against that defense early on. So that's what I'm looking at. I see it as a 47-21 game. And this is overall. So even if Arkansas has run away with it and they bring in backups and Arkansas State scores on, the backups. I mean, I think it's going to be 47-21. Illinois, Brett's doing a hell of a job there. So, it's hard to pick against him, against Duke. This could be one of those. A lot of these games are toss-ups because look at week 1. How many games were, I thought Alabama was just going to steamroll Florida State. We've seen what happened. Iowa State, until Iowa gets out of their whatever offense they're running, it's hard for me to go with them. And I think they're one of the most overrated teams in the country every year. They always get ranked high for some reason, and their offense is just stagnant. They just have a decent defense. Michigan OU is kind of the same thing, like I said with the Arkansas State game. Yeah, Michigan's a good team. OU's got a good offense, but their defense is all right, how's their defense going? So I'm going with Michigan on that. And then now when we get to the NFL, I've kind of talked to you about this. These 3 games, if I'm not too sure. No, all 3 of these teams play each other twice in the season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is
no. Buffalo and Baltimore will not.
Okay.
Philadelphia and Dallas will. Chicago and Minnesota will.
So with the Philly-Dallas game, and I wanted to go Cowboys just for the fact that the Cowboys a lot of the times seem to win this first matchup, and the same thing that's why I went with the Bears in this one. It's funny. I flip-flopped reasons, but yet went with different teams. I went with Chicago because this is the first meeting. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a good quarterback. They have firepower. And then Ravens, I just think Ravens are the better team. So that's why I went with the 3 on NFL, but it is always hard because a lot of these games early in the season, it doesn't mean as much because, one, we're playing each other again. And when we play them again, it's for playoff seedings or end of the year seedings. And then you see there's a lot of times the person who wins at the first matchup doesn't always win in the second matchup.
Very possible. So I'm just trying to get my lead in while I can. I'd rather you guys play from behind than try to play catch up. So,
yeah, well said. But yeah, I was going somewhere.
I know you were.
Yeah. But anyways, it's going to be a good. Yeah. I'll let Matt and DP know that, three of us, it's almost like that Arkansas State, man. That's crazy how that happens, me. And I guess you'll have to make another meme about where you're sitting.
Let's not go there.
So sorry for that. Went down a bad rabbit hole on that one, but no, with the pick'em contest, it's hard for me to do NFL because I just don't study a lot of it a lot, and I need to get better at it and watch more games. But the college season, the way it started week 1, it's just like now you really don't know. And a lot of it is you're seeing transfer portals, these quarterbacks that are just being transplanted and they're moving around. They're not getting set with the team. And then you look at a guy like Nussmeier at LSU who killed it. I mean, commanded the offense and commanded his team, and you've seen the difference. So we'll see what happens this week. I really hope the best on the Arkansas. I really hope that there's more water. I hope for the fans' sake that this being the last matchup in Memorial, which I think it will be, it's one that the fans will remember, because at the end of the day, Hawg fans have been through enough. Do they really want to go through their last college football game experience in Little Rock with a lost Arkansas State?
No, okay. You don't want to do that.
So,
and before we get off here too, because I do want to touch on it, because I still think that this holds true. Folks, let me see real quick here. Just a little precursor. Here we go. I'm still in the belief that there is conspiracy going on with the winners.
Yeah,
because for this go around, after we started bringing this up about the winners and being, if they're donors or whatever else, it's funny that we talk about it and then Ruskin and Zach bring us up on, or our comments on their show, which they agreed with and whatnot. But here we are, the first raffle after that, after those comments were made, we still don't know who won the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you think that there's a conspiracy here, that they're not saying who these winners are now, because people are starting to, speculate a little bit on who wins and who doesn't.
I was hoping they would be so petty to let one of us win. Just to, I would have, man, that would have sucked. I mean, let's be real for a second. You imagine we talk all that mess and then one of us end up. How would we come on into the show when we're like, Adam, how was your weekend?
It's one of those things, like they say that, hey, I'm not going to let everybody know like I won the lottery, but there's going to be signs or whatever. I'm telling you this, I don't play the lottery. I'm tempted to, now that Powerball or whatever is going to be like 2 million before Saturday, because it's at like 1.7. I am going to do everything in my power to be at every single Razorback event, just so Hunter Yurchek has to look at me.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I want in this.
You got the people putting on the Jumbotron about the divorce and stuff. You could buy an ad on the Jumbotron.
Like, are you going to turn down if I say, hey, here's $20,000, but you have to put this on verbatim? Like, you can't edit this. This is what I want my message to say. But no, it's just one of those things that, we have questions about the winners and if they are donors or not. And then here we are, and you haven't told us who won the last one, but you were so quick to post pictures before of the first 2 winners. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, it's
legit. And again, I want to be very clear about it. What we've talked about, this is it is petty, but yet if we're talking about it, people on the radio are talking about it and agreeing in their own way, saying, yeah, they wouldn't ever rig this. But, you see the fan output. If the fans didn't see that and be like, okay, maybe there is something to that. Well, here's proof in the pudding. I mean, we're 2 days out. And the winner gets 12 grand. So, I mean, it's one of the things, because you don't announce, one, who the winner is unless we've seen who's the winner from this week. 2, you don't know where the money goes. If you'd have put this in the NIL, like we've said over and over, I think you'd have more of a turnout. Or if you'd have let the other people do it that wanted to do it and do it a fair way, make it about NIL. Because if you were really about a winning football program, you'd have went that route. But you, in your own pettiness, we'll do it ourselves. We'll do better than what they could have done. Well, I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah. Taking it back. Yeah, I mean, do I expect this to gain steam over the next couple of days? 100%. But right now, I just think there's still a lot of uncertainty on the fan side of things.
Well, and I guess maybe we can do our part. Maybe they should cut us a check, because it seems like after last Thursday, it jumped up significantly to that 90,000 mark to the winner. So we'll see how it magically might rise from 12 to 60,000 to the winner over the next couple of days. So we'll keep you updated on the conspiracy here. We might even have, was it Robert Shat? What was his name on Unsolved Mysteries? Is that his name?
William Shatner?
Not William Shatner. It was the host. Hold on. It's going to bug me.
Oh,
something. Robert
I know who you're talking, because he had that Robert Stack.
Yeah.
Because he had that voice that was just creeped you out if you're a 90s kid.
You know what it scared me was the drawings, the sketch artists of the person. That's what scared me as a kid. They would throw it up on the screen, and I'd be terrified of those sketch artists because I would always think they were outside.
I don't know if I'd admit that, but okay.
Yeah. Oh, well. But I was like 4, 5, 6 years old at the time. And they like I was a grown adult, and they're like, oh, a drawing.
Well, I'm just going to start finding random sketches and just throw it up on screen and see if I can scare you.
That sounds good. Adam, you got anything else, brother?
No. Game 1, go watch the Eagles win.
All right, quick shout out. Hillbillies, Boonville tomorrow night, Hillbilly Stadium. Going to be a rockin' joint on Friday night in Ozark. So I want to shout out the Hillbillies real quick. Adam, who's Northside got?
I couldn't tell you. I've been checked out on high school athletics to start this year. There's just too much going on.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for Adam Hall. I'm Porter Hayes. Want to thank all of our sponsors, especially FanDuel, Believe, Vision Exteriors, and we will catch you on Sunday.